Los Angeles. My name is Elliot Mintz.
Thank you very much.
The first time that I became familiar with your work, I believe, was when I read a lengthy interview with you, maybe almost 2 years ago. Was it in Psychic magazine?
Yeah, it might have been, right.
And it was one of the very earliest reports and one of the earliest inclinations of your interest in extrasensory perception. I know you've told the story 5,011 times by now, but just for the benefit of people who are not hip to it, could you just acquaint them with exactly what you did in terms of your ESP experiment from outer space?
Well, I used a standard laboratory technique that's been used for many years, at least 30 years, perhaps 40 by now, of using the standard Zener symbols, or popularly called Rhine symbols, oriented according to a table of random numbers, and concentrating on them for about 15 seconds apiece, while 4 subjects here in the United States attempted to guess the ordering of those symbols, which they did fairly well.
When you say fairly well, could you be more specific?
Yes. I can only quote it in statistics because that's the way we evaluate such results. The statistics are that chance could have produced our results 1 out of 3,000 experiments. So if we repeated the experiment 3,000 times, one would expect due to chance alone you would get this result. However, we only did it once. So giving us a fairly high degree of certainty that something beyond chance was working here.
Prior to that experiment, had you been interested in ESP, or had you attempted experiments like that on Earth before you had tried it from outer space?
Yes, I'd done a bit of work and a large amount of literature research and research with certain subjects in the field, and it pretty much convinced myself that there was an awful lot of smoke here, and I was looking for the fire. And I found it, and let's say I've been working peripherally in the field and avocationally for about 4 years before I attempted that.
Had NASA been aware of the fact that you were going to attempt the experiment?
No, they had not been. However, many of my associates were very well aware of my interest in the field, so there was no great secret about the interest. However, the experiment that I conducted was very private and personal for my own edification. I really never expected it to get the acclaim that it did.
By the way, approximately where were you when you attempted to transmit the signal?
Well, we did it upon 4 different occasions during the rest period, 2 going out and 2 coming back. So the distances varied, of course, but somewhere between somewhere between 50 and about 150,000 miles out on each case.
Was there any difference in the incidence of accuracy between in direct relationship to distance? In other words, did it...
Oh, that's very hard to say because we really didn't have enough data points. It would take a rather considerably more sophisticated study than we were able to perform in order to determine that sort of thing.
Is it your supposition, Captain, that if one can maintain ESP contact at a distance of 12 miles, it is conceivable that one could maintain distance from here to the moon? That it's really the same thing we're talking about, and that mileage isn't a factor?
As a matter of fact, most of our theoreticians in the field, although we don't really have enough data yet to back it up, are very well convinced that distance is a very small factor, if any, and that our normal concepts of distance and the way signals dissipate with distance really don't have any bearing on this type of communication.
You have been very vocal in the whole area of psychic phenomena and extrasensory perception in particular, and thousands of kids in college campuses all over America are extremely impressed with your interest in the field. Is it going to be a lifelong work with you and study? Will you devote most of your time now to probing this form of phenomena?
Well, I think, let me put it in context for you.
Yes.
I think it's a very interesting scientific curiosity, and I think it's a very important facet of human functioning. But let's not get it out of its true proportion. facet of human functioning. And the reason we're dwelling on it at this point is because it's a very little understood facet. And we think of it, the people that I'm associated with, my associates, think of it as a key to expanded human potential. You know, the old saw about we only use 10% of our brain. I think that what we're looking at here is the key into how do you get to that remaining 90%, whatever. You know, no one knows whether it's 10%, 20%, or whatever.
So if I might paraphrase, you're merely using the psychic experience or the extrasensory perception experience as a conduit or a vehicle or a median point to higher levels of awareness, consciousness.
That's absolutely correct, yes. And only because it is so misunderstood, debunked, or not understood in the scientific community, am I making a point of it at this point. Because it is a very direct facet of expanded human awareness. And that's really what we're trying to get to.
I had just a few more questions for you, and then I'll let you go, Captain.
Sure.
I might be incorrect now, but I believe that you were quoted in the National Enquirer recently in relationship to this sudden rash of UFO sightings in America, that you believe that indeed our planet has been visited by intelligent life from other planets. Is that an accurate quote?
No, I think that's probably overstating it. I'm saying that that is certainly a plausibility, and I will not throw it away. I think that the idea that we are the only intelligent life in the universe is sheer folly. Furthermore, the idea that we might be the most advanced life in the universe is also sheer folly. So I count it as entirely plausible that there is intelligent life elsewhere that might, by some means or another, have stumbled upon our particular little insignificant planet. But that's a long ways from saying that is what UFO sightings are.
Do you personally, Captain Mitchell, do you personally believe that we are being observed or visited by intelligent life from other planets? Is that a personal belief of yours?
Well, no, I can't really say it's a personal belief. I can say that I think it is plausible. I think it is possible. Certainly not in the way we think of space travel. But at the same time, I will wait and see what the evidence shows us. There are some very superb research people looking into this problem. And the evidence suggests that there is a lot more to be understood here than we currently understand. And I will not presuppose an answer. I do not know whether it is extraterrestrial visitation. I will admit that that is certainly a possibility. But I will not say that that is the fact until such time as we get more evidence than we currently have.
I understand. Captain Mitchell, there's been a lot of talk. I'm just trying to phrase this question in a way that it does not sound as if I'm being facetious or anything near it, because that's not my intent. But, you know, they say that somebody who lives in Los Angeles spends a weekend in Watts or Venice or Burbank, their consciousness is going to be altered as a result of their excursion. Or if you go from New York to Paris for a month, you're going to come back a little bit differently. A handful of human beings on our planet went to the moon, traveled to outer space. You were one of them. People say that that experience has altered some of the people, some of the astronauts, including yourself, that your consciousnesses have been changed. People have suggested that some of the people have come back radically different human beings with completely different perceptions and perspectives of the planet and the way they are. I ask you if, as a result of your travel, you feel outside of the usual normal realm of what a man would feel going to the moon, how has it personally or psychically affected your life and your head?
Well, first of all, let me say, I don't think your analogy is appropriate.
Oh.
We all go through the experiences of traveling and broadening our experience and learning new things in a simply, learning situation. Like going from here to Covina, San Francisco, I can set the context for you in this way.
Please.
For many thousands of years, man has looked out into the universe, to the stars, to the solar system, and wondered about it, and said, what's up there? How does it relate to me? How does it relate to the God that I know? How does it relate to these awesome mysteries of existence? Well, for the first time now, in the last few years, man has gone out there and looked back. And lo and behold, he had a very profound experience in looking back. He saw his planet, his home, in a totally different light. And it's what I call as a common denominator for the men that I've talked to. It's instant global consciousness. It's an awareness that this planet is a very tiny, almost insignificant place, but yet to us it's our home. It's the birthplace and living place of Homo sapiens. It's our home. And so in that case, it's very unique. But it gives you a totally different perspective and makes you think deeply about a new perspective of this little planet, this little ball of mud we call Earth. And in that sense, it's not just a learning experience. It's a very deep, emotional, cosmic experience, if you will.
You're a different man as a result of it, are you not?
I think that's true, yeah. I'm more concerned with this planet than most anything else. And I think I can say that it tends to be an attribute of my colleagues, in that we think of ourselves now more as national, or rather more as planetary citizens than national citizens.
Planetary citizens instead of national citizens.
This planet is our home. The whole thing is our home, not just one little political subdivision. And we tend to see it more in that light. However proud we may be of our nation, our community, our loved ones, we tend to think more of the planet as a whole. And that's a new perspective that one gets.
It was almost strange that so many people originally viewed the space program as the ultimate nationalistic trip that the United States could perform. And when the tiny American flag was planted on the surface of the moon and saluted by all of the astronauts, it was almost, there was an interesting dichotomy there, that at one hand, of course, there was national pride that we were up there, but on the other hand, it almost seemed like flags no longer belong, do they?
That is precisely correct. We go from planet Earth to our satellite moon. And I would suspect that as we go on with our development and our evolution and our struggling to maintain peace on this planet, I would like to think that we gain more and more of that perspective, that all of us can recognize that we are really a species inhabiting a little ball of mud called Earth.
Was it more or less difficult for you to communicate with individuals, members of your family, friends, people who would recognize you on the street? Did you suddenly feel a little bit more removed from individuals, more of a global consciousness as well?
Oh, in some cases, yes. In other cases, no. Some people identify very readily with this idea.
Mm-hmm.
Others, it's beyond their thinking. And so what it required is a reevaluation of contacts and relationships and friends. In some cases, you grew closer. In other cases, there was no basis to continue.
One or two brief questions, and then I'll let you go, Captain. I'm sure this happens every time that you sit with anyone for more than 5 minutes. They've got 1,000,001 questions to ask, because so few have done it. I've always wanted to know, there have always been, and if you can't answer, I can understand, but there have always been these stories running around that astronauts were told that if they ever really did see something in outer space that they couldn't explain, a la 2001 monolith, that they were just told to cool it, not to say anything until after debriefing, that if you had observed any kind of strange behavior on the moon or of the vehicles, etc., that you were not to get on national television and report it. Were you ever told that?
No, that's utter nonsense.
It is.
As far as we're concerned,
Did you see the Kubrick film 2001: Space Odyssey?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Did it come close at all to the feeling?
Well, it's a very esoteric film, and I understand it and identify with it far more now that I'm doing work in what I call the field of noetics than I did then. It's a very creative and very compelling piece of work.
But for those of us on Earth who might not have an opportunity to go to the moon, it doesn't feel that is a more dramatic way than it actually is when you're up there in your space.
Yes. Well, I think what that film was essentially saying was, here we have all of this physical ability to explore, but in the final analysis, it's the essence of the human being, it's the essence of the mystery. What am I, and where did that come from, and how do I fit into the universe? That's the ultimate question. And that's the sort of thing that in my new institute we're trying to explore. That more further question, the looking for the ultimate answer, is the idea that we're trying to approach now.
I do hope we have an opportunity to speak again, Captain Mitchell. I am a tremendous fan of not only your work, but your vision, and I thank you for visiting with us.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Good night.
Good night now.
Captain Edgar Mitchell.